Good evening. I'd like to call the April 8th, 2009 Zoning Commission meeting to order. Let the record show all members are present. This time I'd like to open up the floor for public comment. Anyone in the audience wishing to speak on any item not on the agenda, please come forward and you'll have 3 minutes. No one wishing to come forward, public comment period is closed. Acceptance of the minutes from March 11th, 2009.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Michael Marchand, seconded by Bob. Any opposition? Motion carries. Item number 5A, zoning review ID 199109, Tract A for Larry and Diane Moran. Anyone here? Yes, sir. To present? Yes, sir.
Well, I'm sure we're here because of the UM2 rezoning is what we're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're requesting.
Right, he's asking to rezone a property from medium intensity residential RM to mixed use, MU2.
Yes.
Okay. That's okay. All right.
That's what we're requesting, yes.
Okay. I mean, you want to give us a little history? Can you?
Well, we purchased the property and then we got a contract on it to sell it. And Hank Siraj, which Siraj Realtors is the one that's going to be purchasing this property. And he has had it drawn up for office. However, we kind of backing. I think Hank's here, he can tell you, but I think he's backing off of it because now we haven't had a turn lane associated with our property. So I think the property is going to remain in a commercial development, but we're just not exactly sure now what's going to go on there with this new lane that we having to give up some of our property for.
All right, so let me understand. You're still requesting the rezoning,
Yes.
correct? Still not changing that, all right.
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions, comments?
Yeah, are you requesting all 3 of those lots to be commercial or just lot A?
It's just one lot.
Well, it shows tract A, tract B, and tract C on there.
It's the lot that fronts Jefferson Highway, correct?
It's just track A.
It's the lot that fronts Jefferson and sides on Henry Road. So.
The proposed development that y'all are considering, the entrance would be on Jefferson Highway?
Don't know. We drew out some preliminary plans for just sketches of how the buildings would lay out. The proposed right-of-way for the turn lane is right at the entrance, the only entrance to the property at this point. Talking with the engineers, it's going to have to be addressed, and so we'll probably have at least one on Jefferson and one off of Henry Road. But it's too early to tell. You have to look at the maps with the turn lane. Don't know yet is the answer.
The turn lane is something you're required to put in, or something the state's put in?
State.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't see how Henry Road can take anything. That is a narrow road.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I'd hate to see a commercial development go in there and depend on Henry Road to get in and out, especially in that spot.
Yeah, I agree. I think having one on Jefferson, maybe one on Henry. We're gonna have to tinker around with the plans and bring it to these guys over here, or the guys over here earlier, and just get their advice on it. the recommendations.
Okay. Any other comments, questions at this time? Open up the floor for public hearing. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak on this property, please come forward. You'll have 3 minutes.
Well, I'm Delia Phillips. I've lived on Henry Road near this property for over 65 years. I have 4 items that I would like to address at this time. If rezoned, will people enter and leave the possible businesses by way of Jefferson or Henry? It may not appear that this is a major problem, but because of the tremendous congestion at peak hours, it is, especially for Henry Road since it's so narrow. Motorists, including many school bus drivers, are at the mercy of polite individuals. When there's an accident or work on Highway 42, detouring traffic backs up almost to the end of Henry. My second item is drainage. When there's a significant rain, Henry Road is one of the first listed closures. The problem on this end of the road was caused when the parish closed about 1/4 of a mile of the south ditch and forced all the area water to funnel through a stretch of culverts that run along this property. The water backs up, covers the road and the properties, including the back of this property. If dirt and concrete are brought in, more water will be forced on the road and other properties. Once high, dry land on Henry Road has now been declared already flood zones. My third item is safety. For years, we have been promised a wider, improved bridge. The one there is dangerous. You only have to look at the broken bridge to see how dangerous it really is. At a televised meeting, I heard a priority given to a turn lane. That's wonderful. Where will the land come from other than this property? If we're going to have smart planning, I feel that we should first widen the bridge, solve the drainage problem, and build the turning lane. If then the corner can safely accommodate a rezone, consider it. Fourth, although I'm not in any political loop and not aware of all the possible future community needs, my observation of the slow development of the Odom and the Abear properties shows there's no urgent demand for light commercial or office rezoning in this areas. The owners of this property would certainly benefit from rezoning, but will the neighbors, the Prairieville community, and Ascension Parish? For now, could you not vote for rezoning, allowing the property to maybe even return back to the beautiful home site that it once was? I feel that that end of Jefferson Highway with homes is more positive. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
My name is Mark Knoll. On the piece of property right next to it, there is no house on there. It's dilapidated. I wish somebody would develop it. Henry does need to get widened, and I see that whole piece of property from Henry to the Parish ditch being commercial, and my piece is one of them. I'd love to build a home out there, but I don't want to spend the money and then 5 years down the road have to tear it down and move. So I'd like to see it go commercial now.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Public hearing is closed. Comments, questions from commissioners?
Ricky, I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay, we've got the owner of a corner coming to us asking for rezoning, and then it sounds like the next door, they're going to want to rezone. What's the plan for this area?
I was going to address the lot next to it when we talked about the map changes. But where we sit today, the piece of property in question is clipped by mixed-use zoning. I would guess about a quarter of the property is available to be developed today as mixed use. We do not control access. That access can come off of Jefferson, it can come off of Henry. That's going to be for DOTD to decide. When we were doing the map revisions, we analyzed that corner and said this is a piece of property that's got a commercial designation. They can develop it today, a quarter of the property, as mixed use. Does it make more sense to give them the lower mixed use 2 designation for the whole property, or to leave it as the clipped corner? We made the decision to make the whole thing mixed use 2, but I defer to you. If you don't want to do that, we will just make that one of our map corrections tonight to remove the mixed use 2 designation, to put it back to the mixed use clipping, and let the council decide when you guys make your recommendation based on that, whether to put it at mixed use 2 or to leave it at the current mixed use clipped at the front and residential medium at the back. But I agree also with our speaker. Henry Road is not prepared to handle a lot of commercial traffic. The bridge is in horrible condition, needs to be fixed.
So if commercial goes in, who would fix the bridge? Would that be the developers? Would that be a stipulation on the developer? Or would DOTD come in and do that?
It's Parish Road.
It's a Parish Road, okay, so who would fix it?
You have
Would
access
Parish
to
fix
bridge, but I don't know where it's rated. I would suspect it's probably low, and where the priority is from DOTD.
From what I can gather from what Mr. Moran and also from Mr. Siraj, and I guess I don't want to speak for them, but they can maybe speak, but I don't think they would do anything until that is actually completed and done. So I don't think I'm just saying, I don't think anything would happen on the property until all those things are straightened out, because they don't want to put the money in also for them to have to do something for them to widen the road or take out their property.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? What is the wish of the commission?
I'm going to make a motion to rezone it to mixed use 2. I think that's a safe zoning for that area.
I'm going to make a second to that. I think that area, we've studied that area, and I think it's the right direction to go with the piece of property. It, as Ricky indicated, it downzones the existing zoning, but it also kind of cleans up the map and addresses, conflict that's on the map, and it's the best solution.
Have a motion by Paige Becknell, seconded by Julio Dumas to approve the rezoning. Any opposition?
I object. I object.
Michael Marshall.
And
Buddy Wells. Bob Nance. Object. Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Item number 5B, zoning map revision. Oh, I don't wonder where you went.
All right, so we're back with our zoning map. We took the map on a tour of the parish. We met in 13 different meetings. We met in the morning, we met in the afternoon, we met in the evening. We met with approximately 90 citizens, councilmen, and commissioners. And I can say with relative certainty, 99% of the people liked what they saw. What I wanted to do tonight was take you through the 10 or so areas of concern. And they were items that, when the citizens came and talked to us, we documented every area where there was a question, and we said we'd bring it back to the commission so you guys could make a motion on each item as to what you wanted to do. Do we want to change the map? Do we want to leave it as is? Do we want to think about it some more? So I'm just going to run through each of those areas with some help from Lance here. We've got some graphics. I've got my map here on the computer screen, and we're just going to run through those. The corner of 431 and 934. There is an existing business that just came up on the east side, right here at this corner. And it's that funeral home crematory business. And we're going to put that back to Crossroads Commercial. We had basically eliminated the big square that was just overlapping all of these houses. But we neglected to leave that one because it is an existing business. And so we wanted to put that one back. I'm not sure if it's easier to make the motion as we go, or if you guys want to do them all at the end.
Let's do them individually.
Okay.
I agree.
As we go.
I'll make a motion that you do that.
I'll second.
Motion by Julio, seconded by.
I've got a question about that. Okay, you want to go ahead and you want to put that corner back to mixed use. Crossroads
Just
Commercial.
that one.
Are we, doing that, are we going to try and establish some limits? Or are we going to, because we may have more and more people wanting to come and get their property rezoned to Crossroads Commercial and start extending that out. So what are we going to do to offset that?
I think that what it comes down to is, and it's the thing that I've been trying to preach, is we're really not trying to say what the future of the parish is. We're trying to clean up today's map. And by cleaning up today's map, we recognize that the east side of 431 is primarily residential and doesn't need to be Crossroads Commercial. But there is one business there at the corner. And if more businesses come and they start surrounding that existing business and growing out from that intersection, I think that's perfectly acceptable. It's a perfectly fine way to grow that Crossroads Commercial corner. I think if somebody comes and they're 800 or 1,000 feet off of that corner and they want to rezone to Crossroads Commercial, that's where it comes down to you guys in the council saying that's not the intent of what this parish is trying to do. When we get to a future land use map, we may come back and say, future land use wise, we want that whole corner to be mixed use, and we'll change it, you know, on the future land use map. So when people come back and rezone, we have something to bounce it off of. But where I'm at today is we wanted to clean up the map and say, yeah, that really is a residential or a rural area, because that's what it is. It's that purple color. But we do have a corner there that there is an established business. Let's put it back to what the zoning category should be.
Making sure we get this recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second. And
Yes.
I guess we call.
Yes. You finished, Michael? You?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion by Julio, seconded by Paige Becknell. Any opposition? Motion carries.
All right, the next item came up when we were out in Sorrento, and I'll be perfectly honest, we messed up. And when we colored the front commercial of Pelican Point, we colored a little bit too far. And the question came up, did we color it the right color? So what we did is we pulled the old map, and we're going to put that up for you. And it's the approved Pelican Point commercial. And what you'll see, go to the next one, is that whole frontage between the entrance and where that commercial stops is called out as village. Rotate it.
Where?
There it is, village. But that stops at the little house that's still existing. So pull it down a little bit, Lance. Right there. That is not village. And on our new map, we had colored that house as mixed use. We want to eliminate that lot from the mixed use color. And then the question was, should it be mixed use? Or should we make the lots that aren't developed yet mixed use too? So then what we did is we looked at the approved plan, and what they did is they called out something called the village, and they restricted the uses. And our mixed use 2 category would not allow some of the uses that their approved plan allows. So therefore, we have to color it mixed use. And I think based on their restrictions that they've got on their existing plan, they're pretty restricted already. So our recommendation is to remove the mixed use color from that one house lot, but keep it as mixed use.
Okay, any discussion? Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept it as Ricky has explained, and I think that would satisfy the homeowners association, Ricky. Thanks.
I'll second that.
I have a motion by Beverly Barre, seconded by Julio Dumas for approval. Any opposition? Motion carries.
The next item is on 73, and what it is once again another mistake on our part. But the Dutchtown Crossing spud, we colored too much as spud. And so what we want to do is just to clean up the two corners, the two lots there that are encircled in red, and just turn them back to mixed use 2 or to mixed use 2. They're at the fringe between the mixed use and the spud, and if you put up the aerial, you'll see there's already existing uses on that property. So we think that the mixed use 2 gets them into a more conforming line, as opposed to giving them the free the mixed use.
Okay.
Motion to change it to MU2.
Second.
Motion by Sherry Slyman for approval, seconded by Julio Dumas. Any opposition? Motion carries.
The next item is at the corner of Diaz Road and Highway 42. We had a citizen who came to us and asked us if we would consider giving them a commercial designation. Go ahead and put mine up, Lester. What you'll see is we've colored one parcel on the east side of 12 Oaks as mixed use 2. The other side, where Joe Saverio or Roddy Road hits 42, we've given it Crossroads Commercial. The parcel in question is this rectangle over here, so it sort of would sandwich 12 Oaks with a commercial designation. We hadn't considered it before as a commercial property, but we wanted to bring it to you as an option.
And as far as commercial, you wanting a MU2 or mixed use? What are you wanting?
They said commercial.
Wouldn't MU2 be better up next to a subdivision?
It would be better. The question is whether or not you want to put more commercial there next to the subdivision.
You know, I mean, I think that part of the exercise we went through when we analyzed 42 was there's an enormous amount of undeveloped commercial property on 42, and it's a road that, I mean, I don't know where it ranks on as far as danger is concerned, but it's way up there. And I just don't know that it's the right place to add. The other commercial is sort of concentrated. It's at an intersection. This is not going to be at an intersection. I think it's best that it remain as is.
Okay.
Make a motion that it remain as is. I'm sorry.
Second.
Motion by Julio to remain, seconded by Bob. Any opposition? Motion carries.
The next piece of property has a little bit more history to it, and once again, I may have to defer to Lance because I'm not 100% familiar with the history, but what I do know is we got a petition at one of our community meetings from a number of residents that this particular piece of property was previously zoned conservation, like all of the properties that surround it, and during the last map amendment, it was changed from conservation to rural. And the petition basically states that no development has occurred, nothing has happened on this property. We would like it to be put back to conservation as it was on the previous map.
Who owns this property? Don't we need to consult that person?
It's one of those items that we've rezoned some properties to a higher intensity without consulting property owners, and this is one of those where you do have to ask the question. We're reducing the zoning on a piece of property.
Right. So you're going backwards.
Correct.
Lance, excuse me for a minute, wasn't this the property that it wasn't the commission that recommended the change? This was changed on a council level when we proposed the map. So the commission never saw this. This was done on a council level.
So I would imagine that if you recommended one way or the other, it could just as easily be changed again when you get to the council level. But yeah, the petition was delivered to us at one of the community meetings with 35, 40 signatures on it, and I think it's in your packet.
Any other questions? What is the wish?
Make a motion to put it back to conservation.
Motion by Bob Nance to return to conservation.
I'll second.
Was it Sherry?
Yeah.
Seconded by Sherry Slyman. Any opposition? Motion carries. Next.
The next item came as Lance and I were driving around looking at another project, and I had my zoning map with me, and I had never really driven into this area. This is at the intersection of 73 and Interstate 10, and it really just occurred to me that we had a really big area of mixed use 2 here, and I was, questioning if we had done the right thing. So what we did is we drove in to the little park there. If you want to put up that map, we had the map with the sketch on it, and we analyzed the existing buildings that were there, and it's not really going to be clear on our map. But what you'll find is the mixed use 2 would be good up to a point, and then you really do need to go back to mixed use because there are some heavy intensive uses on this little drive that pokes back in there, and I don't remember what the name of that street is. But you can see the buildings there on Lance's plan. But if we put that little piece back to mixed use 2, we leave mixed use 2 out on 73, and then as we head further east on 73, we would eliminate the mixed use 2 from the parcels that aren't fronting on 73. So we would keep the parcels that are out there at the entrance, but the rest of that where it's just houses and other stuff today, we would remove the mixed use 2. So on that one street, we would put mixed use at the very back of it. You can see our labels. Why don't you rotate that 90 degrees? There you go. And come back down a little bit. Where we've you can see that mixed use, it's not very clear, but the back piece would be mixed use. The middle piece would be mixed use 2. And then the frontage along 73, as you get closer to the interstate, those parcels would all stay as mixed use 2.
So towards the back, closer to residential, the MU will stay next to the interstate.
Correct.
Okay. I just want to make sure I understood you right.
If you go down the interstate, you can see Wire Road when you come, onto the interstate on 73.
With putting it at MU2, we're basically making it non-conforming, and that doesn't make sense. They were petitioned properties before, and so we're just going to put them at mixed use.
Any other questions, comments? What is the wish of the commission?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion to approve by Paige Becknell, seconded by Julio Dumas. Any opposition? Motion carries.
The next item is at the intersection of 44 and 621. The citizen that came to us, I believe, was the property owner, and he requested that we make his property mixed use as opposed to Crossroads Commercial. What you'll see on the plan on the screen is we had stopped the mixed use where it was stopping before. The Crossroads Commercial was staying there because it was at the intersection of 621, but we extended the Crossroads out to the bayou, and then it turns into mixed use 2 where you're not at an intersection. I believe we have the other map, if you want to put that one up, that shows what it looks like today. I can put the other zoning map up. So in today's world, it is petitioned properties. It was petitioned to be mixed use, but in our map correction, we put it with Crossroads Commercial so that it was more in line with what we were making the rest of the map do right in that area.
Is there anything there now? Is there any development there?
Yes, sir. There's some office warehouses that are there right now.
And it would be, in that zone, it would be consistent.
But what's across the street? Is that where the turf farm is?
It's a little further down.
Okay.
Actually, Cox, where there are
Okay.
satellites and everything.
Oh,
That's
okay.
where they're across the street, which
Okay.
is right on the bayou. This is the Black Bayou right here, this line. So there's the I guess the boundary would be Black Bayou.
What's the purple? Of course, I mean, going across the street. I'm kind of thinking with Sherry. I mean, if no, toward 44. Yeah. What is that?
There's
There's a convenience store on each
What is that
corner.
store on the corner. There's a auto repair shop, and then he may have owned
Go,
actually on
go
both
across the
lots.
street. Go across the street.
Another-
Across the street is there's a convenience store on this side. It may be multiples, and I'm
And
pretty.
what's that zone?
That's going to be mixed use, right here.
Okay. What I'm kind of thinking is if we go to the Cox and catch the stuff
You're talking about
adjacent.
here.
Yeah.
I think there's
Yeah.
a house in between there, though, isn't there?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
And there's some homes within here.
Okay. Okay. Never mind.
Now, why do they want that to go down to mixed use?
They want it to go up from Crossroads to mixed use.
Which is what they petitioned for.
And once again, it really is up to you guys. We were just trying to make the map consistent on the, I guess you'd call that the east side of 621, make that Crossroads Commercial. On the south side, the limits of the mixed use today, leave that as is.
All right. Any other questions, comments? What is the wish of the commission?
Well, that'll clean up the intersection. You know, it makes sense to have it all nice and clean. So I would have to agree. I'd make a motion to do as you suggested.
So keep it Crossroads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Julio Dumas, seconded by Beverly Barre to approve the rezoning. Any opposition? Motion carries.
The next item is the one that we were talking about earlier. If you start at, come to mind first, Lester. If you start at Henry Road on 73 and head north to 42, and then just heading north off of 42, we had a citizen come and ask, why aren't we doing more mixed use 2 on the east side of 73? And my argument is, well, do you really think that 73 can support that much commercial traffic? And what we've done in our initial map change when we added mixed use 2 was we allowed those properties that backed up to Airline Highway Commercial to become mixed use 2. We've converted the intersection of 42 and 73 to be mixed use 2, where today it's Crossroads Commercial. The Henry Road property to us made sense because it was already clipped with commercial, so we made that. But no other property on the east side of 73 was designated as commercial because it just doesn't feel like a commercial corridor yet. If 73 gets widened to 3 or 4 lanes, sure. I think that there's a lot of properties in there that could probably conjoin together, and that's what I'm in favor of. Create one project with maybe one entrance off of 73, as opposed to we get 5 continuous lots that have 5 separate and distinct driveways. I think that as our master plan continues and we determine which roads need to be which widths, yeah, we may have a future land use map that shows that portion of 73 and maybe even the southern portion of 73 with significantly more commercial than is there today. I just don't think that the road network today can support that much more commercial, and that's why we didn't show it. But I wanted to bring it to you guys to show. And Lance, you can show that other map. You know, the idea was which parcels would you change? Well, we drew a map and said, okay, all of these that are hatched, these would be the ones we'd convert to mixed use 2, and it's a lot.
You know, I think that's an awfully aggressive thing, given that we're starting the comp plan process. I think that's a future land use issue that, you know, right now, the objective was to sort of clean up the map and sort of, you know, make it a little bit more administrable, for lack of a better term. You know, this is a bit too much of a future land use decision. So I suggest you make no changes. leave it as
Now, there's
it
a lot
is.
of residences in that area too.
Right. So I would make a motion that the map stay as currently proposed.
Second.
Motion by Julio Dumas to leave the map as is in that area. Who seconded? Sherry Slyman seconded. Any opposition? Or okay, motion carries.
I've got one more.
Oh, okay.
While we were driving around, we discovered another site that looked to make sense. It's at the intersection of 621 and L. Landry Road. And what we discovered was one side of the road has mixed-use designation. The other side, 2 of the lots have already been developed as commercial, but they're zoned as residential. And so the consideration that I'd ask is that you decide to either convert the 2 properties that are commercial to mixed use or mixed use 2, or actually I don't think mixed use 2 works because I think the building that's built doesn't meet our mixed use 2 requirements. So either grab those 2 parcels and make them mixed use, or just grab that whole little block and make that comparable to what's across the street. It's already there, and all we're doing is saying, if somebody else wants to develop here, we support it because it's existing. But once again, I wanted to bring it to you and ask your opinion.
I need a little help. I'm not sure where we are.
Yeah, I agree.
Across from Hutch's.
Across from Hutch's Hardware, where
Okay, okay. I know where that
P&J's,
is.
the old P&J's, and there's a a retail center that's there right now that
Okay.
they improved.
There's a retail center, there's a little store and a daycare on the 3 continuous lots, and then a house on the 4th lot.
Well, you know, that's a good attention to detail. That's a good catch. And I'd have to concur. I think you need to take the 4 lots, you know, and just make that nice little, you know, commercial area, and that'll support whatever it's needed out there for a long time, and maybe it'll reduce the need to go anywhere else.
Yeah, it's not going back to residential.
Yeah, Bill
it's not.
Woods will be back trying to get his.
I'll make the motion to make that change.
I'll second that.
Motion by Sherry Slyman, second by Julio Dumas for that change to the zoning. Any opposition?
And now if we
Motion
could just
carried.
make a recommendation for the whole map to go to the council with whatever your recommendation
all
would
the-
be.
I'll make that recommendation.
Second.
Have a recommendation to accept the whole map by Paige Becknell, seconded by Julio Dumas. Any discussion? Any opposition? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Ricky. Good job. I like the graphics. I think I told Lance one time that every time we look at a piece of property, whether it's a subdivision or zoning, if we have those kind of graphics, it would really, I think, help everybody see where it is and do it. So thanks to you and Lance for those good graphics, and hopefully we can have them more often. Good luck in the council. All right. Item 6, zoning subcommittee report. Mr. Dumas.
We had a meeting. We discussed several things, and had a guest, and she was very helpful, and had a good discussion on a number of items. We'll be meeting again on our regular time, last Friday of the month in the morning. But no, we don't have anything that it's going to be coming up to the commission next month. We're just still working on a number of things.
And then
I just want to say that these meetings are supposed to be published, and you need to stick to the times, so let's publish the correct time.
Yes, there was some confusion over the time that was advertised and the time we started. Staff did make a last-minute change, and it caused a bit of confusion, but we will make sure that we do that. Thank you.
And what is the time to be? Is it going to be 8:30 or 8?
8.
8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
I forgot about that.
See if Ricky has
Left.
No, he's left. Any other comments, Ricky? You got any updates? Additional? We good? All right. Motion to adjourn, second.